pioneer project, both in cascading of funding, but also in having this share labs. So they open the labs to people. You can go there, test, and experiment, develop prototypes with them. We will know a bit more about that. Then we have 3 projects in the context of manufacturing. After that, we will have 2 projects also calling for the development of modules or components. So this is Rosin and Rob Moses. Then after, we have 2 brand new projects which will focus their activity in helping SMEs to get access to robotics technologies. And this is Esmera and Robot Union, and they will redistribute a lot of monies to SMEs. Then we have another type of project. It's about certification, so helping companies, especially SMEs, in the certification process in safe robot-human interaction. And again, there is a redistributing of funding. Eurobench is about benchmarking, to develop good benchmarking in bipedal locomotion, and it's again redistributing money. Terinet here, it's a new type of project we have, and it's about offering a good research infrastructure to boost research, to attract excellent researchers. We will hear more about that. And the last one is Reeler, and it's a non-technical project. It's actually to help researchers, roboticists, to integrate in their design, in their development, a responsible concept, so to develop responsible research and innovation for robotics, which is essential for the adoption of this technology. And after we will have some information about Idealist. So let's not delay further, and let's start with the first presentation about eCourt++. So Farid will explain us the concept of the RIFs and how you can benefit from that. Welcome, Farid.
Thank you, Cécile. Good morning. So over the next 6 minutes, I hope to say something about this instrument within HUET++. I'm from University of West of England, from Bristol Robotics Lab, and we are the coordinators for this particular tool, instrument called Robotics Innovation Facility. So we're going to just concentrate on that. In terms of what this presentation will be, those are the areas I'm hoping to cover, and hopefully by the end we get some achievements today. HUET, although this is not a presentation about HUET++, HUET++ has got 4 tools, 4 instruments, experiments, which are funded responses to calls, PDTI, which are technology pull from the European citizenry, as it were, a structured dialogue, which is this kind of thing where we try and disseminate the information that we've gained, and then robotic innovation facilities, which is what I'm going to talk about. There are 3 of these physical places, so these are not imaginary or simulated environments. These are real environments that you can go to, and there is equipment, there are people, there are resources, etc., that will then interact with you to try and assist you in going forward and taking your ideas about robotics and automation forward. Their remit really is to start at a very early stage. So this is, we're not integrators. We are research labs, if you like, that have got some background in research. We have developed some ideas, and we're looking to exploit those ideas with entrepreneurs across Europe. So that these 3 places in Italy, France, and UK are there to assist. Whether or not you are actually physically as a client there or not doesn't matter. As long as we know that we have a shared common goal, we can work towards that and provide you with the services that we have. So in essence, we are there to service the European industry, European researchers, etc., although our core audience really is supposed to be the SMEs. That's where our concentration is, because SMEs are by by far the greatest employers and the generators of wealth. So that's where we're trying to concentrate. But also, as another part of our activity, we're trying to coordinate the three RIFs to see if we can get some synergy between the three, and I'll talk about that a bit later on. So as far as Bristol is concerned, this reflects a snapshot of what Bristol is engaged with. All the light brown boxes are areas that we have actually engaged with, and all the green boxes are actual organizations that we have interacted with. So, for example, we've got a large company, say JLR in the green box there, Jaguar Land Rover, who needed to have some robotics capability to launch a project. We then contacted, because we were already in communication with a robotics supplier called Tharsis, we contacted them and they came on board, and we've jointly made an application for some funding to develop some robotics technology. So this is the kind of ecosystem that we have. There's an awful lot of activity that goes on. We're capable of putting various organizations in touch, or they come into us and we can help them go forward with their ideas. What that might reflect, in a sense, for those of you who've been looking at the scenario and how things are developing, this could be a precursor to digital innovation hubs. So this is the kind of thing that we envisage DIHs eventually to become. Also, that there will be a number of them who will communicate with each other. So they will have this rich ecosystem, and they will also be able to collaborate with each other and develop ideas. So to date, what has been, in terms of our experience, what we've gained so far is that RIFs have been very, very effective in getting people to come in and talk to us, to engage with us, for us to do some work with them, to try and develop their ideas to such an extent so that they can then get some funding. The engagement is only nominally for 6 weeks. So during those 6 weeks, we can't realistically finish the project. But what we can do, we can develop some initial stage studies that will then enable our partners to go forward and seek further funding. There is no risk at all to the collaborators. They don't have to pay. And very importantly, their IP is safe, because one of the first things that we encountered when we were talking to SMEs was, what's going to happen to my IP? Well, one of the things that we are assuring them is that any IP developed those 6 weeks belongs to them, and they will be the holders of it. But also in larger organizations, what we have found that the technology champions in those larger organizations need some kind of backing for their ideas, for their proposals, to go to their principals, to go to the main board and get funding. And RIFs are proving to be an excellent way of going forward and getting that across. So we're also making sure that we're providing technology support in other areas apart from technology. We've now reached a stage where people are aware, although we had to go around and market RIFs, people wouldn't come when we set these systems up, but now they're beginning to appear. But nevertheless, there's still a significant amount of marketing that needs to be done. And we have to make sure that our collaborations are simple, so that we don't have long, complicated routes to collaboration. So some of the examples is, we backed a company, we started with a company, and now, after about 4 years, they're a £7 million operation, employing about 40 people. We've also had one company that engaged with us, and now they've got a very large assembly system that came out of the investigation. Those were in Bristol. In Saclay, in Paris, we've got development of a new robotic system, a robot rather, that they've helped develop, and that is now being marketed. And also in terms of collaboration, what we're hoping to be able to work with them in terms of applying that as a shared activity between Bristol and Saclay. So those are some examples. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker then is about the horse project. So this is one of those 3 manufacturing projects. So.
So hello everyone. I'm Buklis Panos. I will present you some quick facts about the services offered by the horse project. The horse is an I4MS phase 1 project, so it targets cooperative applications for manufacturing SMEs. Just before going to the services, within horse we have developed a platform that makes it possible to integrate different kinds of robots, machinery, and human workers, and manage and control and monitor them. So the services in horse are offered by 4 competence centers that are established within horse, and more or less they offer similar services, but I will get into the details of each one. So one of them is located at the Technical University of Munich, and there SMEs can have access to consultancy about technology. They can make experiments and have access to facilities and to test, make proof of concept and all that kind of things. About non-technical services, they can have access to networking, either to find partners, to find suppliers, providers, in general to find the relevant experts that are needed. They can have access and consulting for financing issues, for financial, legal, and all ethical consulting that is relevant to their application. The hardware that is available for experimenting and making prototypes in the Munich Competence Center is a collaborative work cell. There is also a fully automatic car test bed, and there are different industrial robots, cooperative, and there is also an augmented reality component that you can test and experiment and can be demonstrated, just to see if it is relevant or applicable to your application, to an SME's application. The other competence center is located in Paris, at Paris Saclay. It is located in the CEA premises. There are 2 components there that we improved within the horse project. One of them is the situation awareness, which locates if there are humans inside the shop floor using different kinds of sensors. And the other component that was also developed within this competence center is the programming by demonstration, where you can actually guide the robot and teach it to make some tasks. Again, there the services are related to having access to prototyping and testing and demonstrating, just to see if your application can use some of these components and robots in general. You can have the access to coaching, to training sessions and consulting in general about the technology. You can have access to simulation of interaction between humans and robots, and all the prototyping facilities. You can use the prototyping facilities for a manufacturing task. The other competence center, which was established within the project, based on the experience by the previous one. So the Munich and the CEA were already there as competence centers, but were improved and standardized within the project. So there is another community center in Slovenia, which was established within HORSE. And there, again, there is access to facilities and prototyping. You can also find information about the regional suppliers and the regional network. There is also a demonstration of the platform that was developed within HORSE. So the last competence center is located at Delft. It's by TNO. There you can evaluate and experiment on different technologies and new technologies. There is also an augmented reality application which helps a worker to assemble different kinds of tools. So it actually gives information on what to do with a projector projecting on real components. You can also find support for the design phase and testing, and special information about the physical and mental load of the human worker. You can find networking for suppliers, partners, etc. And there you can also have a knowledge exchange in workshops. Again, apart from the augmented reality component, there are also other prototyping facilities, like for industrial robots, industrial inspection, etc. So that's the services that are offered within HORSE.
Thank you. In one word, I understood you don't have a call open for the moment. Is there any other call in the future?
No, we had the call, but it had recently closed.
Okay.
So there is no other open
No
call.
other call, but people can still join.
But the competence centers are open, so they are there, and people can access and have access to all these services.
You just don't give money anymore,
Yes.
but you can still offer the service. Very good. Thanks a lot. Next one is Reconcil. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Christian Schlitter. I'm with the STU, the University of Southern Denmark, and I'm happy to present you some of the services we offer from within the Reconcil project. Reconcil is about the development of a highly reconfigurable work cell, robotic work cell. And you get a first impression of the image on the right side. It's about a very simple frame made from very simple components, which can be extended by several sensors, several actuators and robots, agnostic to the actual manufacturer. In our case, we selected Universal Robots. And the aim of this assembly cell is to provide new means of reconfiguration. This means in order to switch between different products and also to switch between different product variants, the robots are able to pick the sensors, to pick the grippers, and to pick the fixtures as well in the cell and bring them into new positions, optimized positions in order to address other and new assembly steps and assembly actions. So beyond the hardware, the Reconcil project is mostly happening in software. It's driven from within a simulation-based control system. So we have a simulation system running in the background for planning and optimization of the cell. In the project, we already have several industrial partners who use the Reconcil for their use cases. So we have real data with real companies and real customers, potential customers for the future. Now, to the services. We offer access to the Reconcil systems that we have installed. The main system is sitting at JSI in Slovenia, in Ljubljana, and we have partial installations and variants of the system sitting at the University of Aachen and one installation in Odense. And of course, we can give you access to the full system, and we can also share the documentation and the knowledge about how to pull up such a system and how to program it. And we invite you to contact us in order to explore the possibilities of the system together with us. Then I was already mentioning the simulation-based approach in this project, and Verosim is a simulation system that is used for this, and we offer this simulation system which has a focus on automation and robotics simulations and simulation-based control to the community as well. So in Reconcile, as mentioned before, we use it for the visual programming of the cell in order to pull in new components based on CAD data and pulling them into the assembly sequence, programming actions, optimizing the assembly actions, and sequencing them for the real commanding of the cell. And we invite you to have a look at the Verosim system as well, and also here to explore it together with us. We have various possibilities to link to existing systems, for example, MATLAB or ROS, so it's also an alternative to Gazebo. And it can handle quite some complex scenarios, and you can ramp it down to also real-time control environments. So it's running on QNX if you need real-time control. Another service is the automated gripper design. So this is a piece of software that will eventually be a web service that is offered to the community. You can send us CAD data of your product, and we will come up with optimized gripper fingers that you can just take and print in 3D in order to have an optimized combination of your product and the grippers. And you can try out all those services that we offer for the community in an open call. It's still open for a bit less than 10 days. And we invite you to just approach us, also to approach us on our website in order to learn more about the project and to see along a web-based process if this is maybe an opportunity for you and a specific assembly use case that you have at your hands, at your companies, or at your from within your research, to use this together with the Reconcile in order to learn about the hardware, the Reconcile system, the software, the Verosim simulation system, as well as some attached services like the automated finger gripper design and the business processes like the Enhancer platform. Please come around and have a look at the poster. So I still have to bring it to the Winter Garden, but yeah, I would be happy to see you over there in the poster session and to talk about the different services we offer to you.
Great, thank you. Yes, you have really an excellent opportunity now to apply to this call and directly talk to the people organizing it so that you understand really what the focus of the call is. So next one is again on this framework of manufacturing. So
Hello, my name is Anna Huovinen, and I'm here to talk to you about L4MS, a program for logistics for manufacturing SMEs. So, while large manufacturers are quickly adapting new technologies to advance their logistics and their profitability, at the same time, SMEs are struggling to really benefit from these advanced technologies due to large initial investments that they require, lack of in-house expertise, and so forth. While large, SMEs are representing 98% of manufacturers, actually less than 2% are using these advanced manufacturing technologies. And this is how L4MS kind of came about. It's an acceleration program that aims to really tackle these challenges that SMEs are facing. And it aims to provide inexpensive and flexible solutions for, to really optimize the logistics of the manufacturing processes. And it also aims to kind of completely digitalize the manufacturing of SMEs and also help automation providers to really develop their solutions faster and cheaper. So, what is L4MS exactly? It's an ecosystem, it's a network that brings together technology suppliers and business developers and competence centers in EU. And when an SME or mid-cap gets involved with this, they will have access to these different services that they need to really develop their factories from conventional factories into smart factories. And all these services will be provided through regional digital innovation hubs. So you will have access to these services. So for the technological support side, SMEs will have access to matchmake with different system integrators and mobile robot manufacturers, and they will have a place to test out these different solutions, and they will have the help of technical experts to really adapt these new standardized and configurable interactive systems. And they will also get help to retrain and reskill their staff members and the leaders. But innovation doesn't only run with good technology, it also requires money. So SMEs will get access to third-party funding up to €250,000, and they will receive business mentoring to really develop these new business models and service models. And also they will have access to finance to really scale up and continue their journey in the commercialization process. So that's it in a very tight nutshell. If you are an SME or mid-cap in the manufacturing and you're looking to really improve your intra-factory logistics, this program is for you. So we have 2 open calls this year and next year where SMEs and mid-caps are requested to send in their business proposals, and they will have a possibility to become a part of this acceleration program. So please visit our website. I know this was very brief and very just touching the surface. So we'll have more information on our website, and also please visit our the poster room, and our technical coordinator Ali Muhammad will be able to answer any technical questions related to this.
Very good, thank you. It was very clear. Thanks. Okay, now the third type of a project is about developing modules and components. The first one is Rosin.
Thank you very much, Cécile. Good morning, everyone. I'm Carlos Hernández, coordinator of Rosin. Rosin Industrial Quality Assured Robot Software Components. It's a long name, so let's use Rosin from now on. Quick background. I'm coming from the Robotics Institute at the Delft University of Technology, where my group, Robot Dynamics, within the Cognitive Robotics department, is working with industrial manipulators to create new, novel, biologically inspired motion control techniques. And in past projects, for example, the Factory in a Day, we realized that to transfer all these new capabilities in robots to industry, key element is the software, how to properly migrate from this lab software to industrial-ready applications. And for that, we are strongly supporting the ROS Industrial Consortium, together with our colleagues at Fraunhofer IPA. And as a result, we created this ROSIN project, which is an innovation action aimed at speeding up the industrial uptake of these novel robot capabilities. consolidating all past and current ROS research activities in Europe and building upon the existing ROS Industrial Europe community to make it sustainable and to make it leading worldwide, because the initiative is spreading quickly in America and Asia. So for this, we are targeting robot software users and developers, especially SMEs, to try to solve their problems reusing open source robot software. Typically, when they try to create a new application, reusing some available components, they face quite some questions regarding how to use it, whether they can actually use it due to licensing, whether they can rely on that, and they try to navigate all the online documentation, which is quite heterogeneous and sometimes not so good, and the software, which is also missing some technical testing and quality assurance aspects. So we are targeting this community, and we have a main service, which is an open call that is continuously running. We call it Focus Technical Projects, and we are basically financing ROS software open source development. And we are funding only 1/3 because we are trying to fund only those that are directly interesting for industry. So we expect the applicants to come with another 2/3 of the funding needed for such a project. And we are targeting very specific focus needs, for example, a new driver for a new camera or a new robot model or new implementations of algorithms, application templates, but also software development related activities such as license or code audits that make new capabilities available for industry through ROS Industrial. So these projects are small, about 1 year duration expected, and a maximum budget of 300,000 euros in total. So we are funding maximum 100,000 of such a project. Eligible entities are those mainly companies, SMEs, technology centers developing robot software that are eligible for H2020 funds. And you can apply anytime. We have the call continuously running, and we have cut-off dates for management purposes, but you can apply anytime at our website, rosinproject.eu/FTPS. And you do that through a very simple and concise application template of approximately 5 pages in which you have to describe your project, your work plan to implement it within a year, and the commitment to fund the 2/3 of the development costs that we are not covering. Examples of these projects, we have already funded 6, 3 industrial drivers. One, I'm really happy to see that Roboception got also the Robotics Technical Award, and now they are developing, extending their ROS driver with our support. And we have also a couple of new algorithms for new robot capabilities that are needed in general, but there was not proper ROS implementation of those, coverage path planner, and an automatic calibration routine for industrial manipulators. So this is the kind of focus projects we are targeting. This is our first service as Cascade funding, and now we are opening this year a new Cascade funding with a similar procedure for education projects on ROS. So we are financing 1/3 of ROS-related education activities, and we are targeting, for example, the setting up a training center with a maximum funding of 30,000 euros, the development of software to be used to support ROS industrial training with a maximum amount of 15,000 euros, and ROS training materials, tutorials, etc., with a maximum of 2,500 euros. Entities we are targeting, education entities, technology centers that develop, for example, professional trainings about robot software. And typically we will have one applicant also in both programs. And the way to apply is similar. You can go to our website. It's continuously open. This one is still not yet ready, but will open in August. Additional services we are offering besides these two Cascade fundings. We are providing trainings for industry on ROS software, and also providing training for third parties to be able to start training activities. And we are actively involved in the quality assurance community, so please visit the forum we are supporting in ROS Discourse about quality assurance in ROS robot software. Just to take, this is the website for our Cascade funding that is continuously open. Next cutoff date in which we will select the next pool of project will be April the 6th. So you are welcome to apply, but there will be more opportunities during the year and next year, and more information downstairs next to our poster. Tomorrow in the workshop teaching robotics with ROS that we are hosting here in the morning, and in future events in May 28-29, we will have an info day at Fraunhofer IPA in Stuttgart, and we will also be present in Automatica. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. Now, the other project, again, about software and modular approach and system design. Rob Moses, yes. Professor, welcome.
Thank you, Cécile. Good morning, everybody. I will present Rob Moses. As Rosin is also a digital platform project and focus on composable models and software for robotic systems. This project involves at least nine partners for industry, academia, industrial, and research, but it also involves third-party funding. So before going to the service, I would like to mention some quick concept behind the proposal, behind the project. What Ramos is interested to tackle is the complexity and diversity in the robotics domain. Mainly from the application domain, we have different requirements from collaborative work, safety, or flexibility in robotics. We also need to compose and assemble functions, algorithms in a predictable way, so the behavior should be predictable. We also have multiple stakeholders around the development of this software that need to work collaboratively in a seamless environment. And maybe sometimes these stakeholders come from different companies. Which is more important for software is that they need also to work in heterogeneous platform for middleware operating systems or hardware platforms, okay? So one common approach in order to achieve the management of this complexity is to have this modular or compositional approach where we can divide the global software development in modules where each module will be developed independently, but then we can plug together them. Okay, the main motivation behind this approach is to get reusability, customizability, and also to manage all these complex aspects, okay? The main principles for software composition and robotics are three: components, interfaces, and patterns. Components can see as black boxes where they can specify just by their input and outputs and the transfer characteristics. And one key point here is that what we want to do is to embed all this information about the transfer features of this black box in what we call this kind of data sheet. And this data sheet will help us to integrate in a predictable way with other components, either horizontally or vertically with a platform component. One point important here are the patterns. Patterns are kind of protocols in order to interconnect these systems, and it could include communication patterns, resource sharing patterns, and others. Okay, what we want to achieve is to ensure predictability of the software component, but also of the whole component. Okay, one important point here is that at least interface and pattern needs to be standardized. Okay, so this is our focus. Romosis follows a model-driven approach for our development. So we are working in what we call composition structures, which will be then used in order to create different kind of tools for component architectural design, validation, and verification. So the idea is to separate the concerns in the development so that we can manage all this increasing complexity. In addition to manage the interoperability at runtime by this black boxing concept. What we want also to enable is the tooling interoperability. By using this kind of structural models, we have a pivot concept model where it allow us to integrate a different kind of tool chains. Right now we have two tool chains, SmartSoft and Papyrus for robotics. So the idea is to integrate all these tools in the same kind of models, and this could enable different unique selling points in order to do to manage this complexity in software development, including safety analysis or compliance with some safety standards, which are already part of the ecosystem. The ambition for creating models goes from guidance for having some harmonized interpretation of the different concepts to the more ambitious creating runtime models in order to enable self-configuration of adaptation. Of course, our main concept is correct by castration composition, but also other aspects are in our scope, like reuse and customization, automate labor-intensive tasks like safety analysis, for example. In order to understand our service, we have at least three phases in the project. The first phase, we are working in the core version of the Robotics platform, which includes the model, the software, and the tools, and this is being used by our first call users, first call projects, what we call integrated technical projects. The second call will go for having a pilot and success stories, so this will be since next year. And the final idea is to get to the integrated ecosystem. Okay, the first call was already done, and we already have a warm start of the project in Barcelona with 6 high-quality projects focused on communication, control, behavior, modeling, quality of service, safety, and benchmarking. So from these different countries, they started already to work with the coaches of the project. Okay. The funding budget plan was 2 million euros, but we achieved only 36 million euros. So the idea is to allocate this in the next call. The second call, as I said, is focused on pilots and success stories. So this will be open next year. And we will also complemented by this remaining budget. So maximum budget for each of the ITPs, which could have various partners, is 300 maximum project budget. And we can provide more information about the kind of pilots which will provide us skeletons from our industrial partners, and we can provide more information as well in the poster. Also, I would like to say that we have a workshop on better tools, models in the afternoon at 14, so that we will provide more details on the kind of service and the way you can be involved, from collaboration to qualification kits of tools, and also to branding process for Robotics conformant tools. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. So the next one now, it's the 2 projects distributing money to SME, really helping to take up robotics in SME by SME. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Morning, everyone. My name is Jorge Nicholas. I come from the Laboratory for Manufacturing Systems and Automation at the University of Patras. And in this short presentation today, I would like to share with you the key concepts underlying our project Esmera, the approach that we are following in this project, and more importantly, how each of you can get involved in the project and how you can benefit from the services that we are offering. So let me start by giving some details on the vision of Esmera. Esmera stands for European SME Robotics Applications. So this means that we are targeting those SMEs that are developing robotic technologies inside Europe. And what we want to do is that we want to create an environment that actually will motivate these SMEs to build on their ideas, to propose new technologies. And this environment includes a lot of things to get them motivated. So we provide them with industry-driven problems to solve. This is what we call challenges, and we have selected several of them from different industrial sectors. Then we also provide to them technical support. We provide them access to our competence centers that have a long background in developing and using robotics. So we also make our facilities available for them for experimentation. And also we support them in non-technical ways, especially in terms of business mentoring on how they can establish business plans, follow them, and eventually bring their product to market. So all this knowledge, we try to infuse it in supporting them in proposing experiments to solve these challenges so that eventually they can come up with new technologies that are as close to market as possible. So how our project works? We start from 4 main challenge areas: energy, manufacturing, agro-food, and construction sector. And for each one of these, we define 2 challenges. This means that we want to have companies describing problems that they cannot solve using conventional robotics, and that the robotics SMEs are going to try and address the challenges through their technologies. So what we're going to do is that we're going to use a 2-phase approach, where in the beginning we're going to select a first group of 16 different experiments trying to address each of these challenges. And then out of them, we will further select 8 that will advance to the second phase, which has to do with industrialization of the product. And this will be repeated over 2 iterations so that we can manage in the 50 months of our project duration. So, if you are a company that is facing problems in their operations, in their production processes, and find it difficult to robotize some of them, Esmera is a project where you can come in contact with us and we can create one of the challenges that these robotics SMEs will try to address. We already have several of them, but as we are pursuing new markets and new areas of innovation, until April 2018, we are open to hear your suggestions and introduce your problem or your challenge in our workflow for the SMEs to address. On the other hand, if you are a robotics SME that has new ideas and new technologies that you want to promote, how we are organizing our workflow is that in the first phase, we are funding the proof of concept of your solution. So the experiments that we'll be funding, we receive 75,000 euros to provide actual proof that their technology can address these challenges. And then after the evaluation by a panel of external experts, some of these experiments will advance to phase 2, where they will receive a further 125,000 euro, so in total 200,000 euro per experiment, to finalize your developments and also receive mentoring from our facilitators, a team of very successful companies in bringing products to market, so that you can also have a step forward with your technology that we hope will become a product at the end of our project. So for this purpose, we are also we are mobilizing our competence centers at TUM, CEA, LMS, of course, and Techniker. And we are offering a set of services that connect the SMEs not only to the competence center itself, but also to the robotics ecosystem around it, and the regional ecosystem, and also the business world. And we are providing support in the form of providing equipment and testing facilities where you can come and test your prototypes. We offer all kinds of technical services in terms of developing prototypes, testing, validating, and programming. And also, we are also offering training and consultancy services that will also be very useful for the SMEs to develop new skills that they can use in promoting their products. And then our team of facilitators that consists of Comau, RU Robots, and Blue Ocean Robotics is there to offer services in terms of demonstration of the robotic technologies to a wide and interested audience of new markets. We provide services for mentoring and creating and applying new business models, and also bringing you as close as possible to industrial associations that can benefit from your technologies. So please feel free to look us up in our website, our social media. We will also be available in the poster session during the lunch break. And of course, you can reach us through email or just give us a call. We'll be more than happy to work with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So the parallel project now is Robot Union. Okay, yes. Welcome. Right.
Okay. Well, if you were yesterday here, excuse me, because I'm going to repeat some of the things I did yesterday. And I'm going to start the presentation as I started it yesterday. How many SMEs and startups in the room? Okay, 1, 2, 3. I would really appreciate if you come to us in the poster session and you can present us what you are doing and so on. Okay, so, well, I'm Roy Rodriguez. I'm the project coordinator of Robot Union at Fundingbox. Robot Union is the pan-European robotics acceleration program. We are an acceleration program. We help the companies by funding them and by giving them services. Robot Union is an acceleration program formed by 15 partners from 7 countries from all over Europe. We have top research organizations in our consortium. We have acceleration programs. We have corporates to cooperate with them. We have investors and so on. In Robot Union, we help the companies on one side by funding them. We will distribute 4 million euros among 40 companies in 2 open calls. The project started in January this year and will finish by the end of 2020, so it will last 3 years. And we will prioritize 4 verticals. It will be healthcare, agri-food, manufacturing, and civil and inspection and maintenance. But if you don't fit in any of these verticals, you could also apply to the open disruptive innovation. We want to help all the robotics companies, so that's why we have this other vertical. And which is the value proposition for the companies? How can we help the SMEs and the startups? On one side, companies can get up to 223,000 euros equity free. We will also help the best companies to get up to 1 million euros in private investment. And besides the money are the services. This is not the first acceleration program that we run, and the companies, when entering our acceleration programs, they usually apply because of the money. But when they finish the acceleration program, what they most value are the services that they receive. Among the services, on one side, we have in the product acceleration, the companies will receive mentoring, mentoring from the research organizations in our consortium. They will also receive access to the facilities of these research organizations. On the business acceleration, companies will receive mentoring services and training from top mentors. Among our mentors, there are C-levels, investors, and entrepreneurs, people from Google, LinkedIn, and so on. This service is the most valued by the startups at the end of the program. We measure everything what we do in our acceleration programs, and the mentoring services is always very, very, very close to 10, because a lot of startups score this with a 10 out of 10 points. Then startups will also receive the possibility of showcase their services and products in world-class events. We take the startups to events like 4 years from now in Barcelona, Shanghai, and Silicon Valley, also to Slash, Web Summit, etc. The startups will also have we will also help them to get exposure in media through different press releases and so on in the different stages of the project. Of course, we help the startups to grow, and to grow they need more money, so we help them to get public and private investment, and we also help them to do pilots with the corporates in the consortium, okay? And which is the journey that we propose to the startups? The journey, as you see, is a hard journey. They have to climb a hard mountain, and they will pass through 4 phases. The first phase, in each open call, we will select 20 companies. These 20 companies will receive 4,000 euros for doing a feasibility study. Then the test bank companies will go to the product acceleration. These 10 best companies will get 120,000 euros for the product acceleration. Then only 8 companies will go to the business acceleration. And finally, the 4 best companies will get 100,000 euros extra for the go-to-market strategy. In this go-to-market strategy, we help them to go to the market by doing pilots with corporates, but also by helping them to get private investment. Okay, and which are the type of projects? Okay, the eligibility criteria are we are looking for European companies based in European countries or associated countries in the 5 domains that I already told before, and in these 4 core technologies. If you have doubts about if you are eligible or not, just contact me after this, or you can send me an email and so on. And the ideal type of project, we are looking for scale-ups. Which is a scale-up? A company in growth stage with the product in the market or about to launch the product to the market. Companies that are looking for more investment. At the end of the acceleration program, we want to help the companies to raise private investment. So these companies must be willing to get private investment. Also, companies with balanced teams, with a team that has all the skills to make this product a success. Okay, and well, in Fundingbox, we are the coordinators of this consortium. We are leaders in Cascade funding in Europe. We have won more than 50 million euros in the last years. We have run several acceleration programs in these years. Yeah, 30 seconds. We have curated a community of more than 12,000 SMEs. We have a really huge coverage in media. We've managed more than 20 open calls. Of the 10 best companies that we accelerated, they multiplied by 20 the public investment they received. We are also coordinators of CSAs like I4MS, Go, and Impact Accelerator, one of our accelerators, was highlighted as one of the top 10 accelerators in the world, together in the list with accelerators like 500 Startups or TechStars. We are very proud of this because they were our reference when we started to do it. And well, that's it. The first open call will be launched in April this year. If you want to be up to date, just join the community in robotunion.fundingbox.com and feel free to connect with me in the different channels. Thank you.
Safety certification. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Cécile. Hi, everybody. I'm Asger Lassen. I'm from DTI in Denmark, and I would like to introduce you to one of the more recently launched European projects called the COVER project. The COVER project focuses on safety and collaborative robots and does so through the development of a toolkit that can be used to determine how to verify and test the safety of a collaborative robot installation. The project was kicked off in January this year and is a 4-year project and is funded through the Horizon 2020 program. So, I will say, oh, sorry Cécile, I think this is the old presentation. All right, I'll freestyle. Otherwise, I'll freestyle. Yes. Okay, so what I would like to say is Iceland Prize with this project. We have a lot of nice service offerings. It's a project that is driven by 5 different partners. We have DTI in Denmark, we have Rosing in the Netherlands, we have CNR in Milan, Italy, we have CEA in Paris, France, and we have Fraunhofer in Magdeburg. At those 5 facilities, we will have something that's called shared safety facilities. where we will have a lot of equipment to do testing of robot safety. At those facilities, we will also host open labs and workshops where companies in the workshops can come and hear about the cover toolkit. They can hear about how to apply for something that's called a cover award, on which I will expand later. And then we have, as I said, the open labs where companies can come and demonstrate collaborative robots and systems for safety in robotics. At the center of the cover project, we have the awards. And awards is FSDP programs similar to what we've seen in the pilots and vouchers in RobotNet. So it's direct funding to companies, and this will typically be either system integrators that wish to ensure safety compliance for a specific robotic installation, or it could be, let's say, a robot developer that has a new collaborative robot they wish to introduce to the market and they wish to have it CE certified. Finally, we have the toolkit itself, which will be an online toolkit where you can enter your information about a specific robotic installation or product, and it will guide you through which protocols to complete in order to ensure compliance with current safety standards. The awards will offer up to 60,000 euros per partner, and they will allow the different companies to use the shared service facilities at the partner institutions. So they will have a lot of equipment available for them to do the safety testing. And the projects will be monitored by the different project partners, so they will have access to expert expertise during the testing process. And that also leads me to one of the more general goals of the project, which of course is to promote collaborative robots in Europe. But the awards is also a mean for us to test and validate the cover toolkit itself. So we can use that to, so we will monitor the projects to see if it actually does the job as it's supposed to. So what is a collaborative robot? Actually, maybe that's one of the questions that I should have asked to begin with. A lot of people think about a robotic arm, but we have not limited it to that. In this project, we're thinking of collaborative robots in a more broader sense. So it's basically all robots that has in some way interface to a human. So it could be an exoskeleton or a hospital bed or a Mia robot driving around with a Mumitroll, something like that. So I think this plays very nicely along the lines of what Thomas Pils said yesterday at the opening ceremony, where he talked about the fall of robotics in 2004, where we kind of divided robotics into different domains where there are different standards and things to comply to depending on what application you use, for example, the same product in. So we try to avoid this in cover, and we look at the cobots as in a more general sense. So finally, I will say, not only visit us down at the poster presentations later on, but please also come by the 2 workshops that we have this afternoon. We have actually the rest of the day covered, so to speak. So yeah, thank you. I'm sorry for the presentation. We had a bit of miscommunication, I guess.
Yeah, sorry about that.
But thank you, everybody.
For the details about the calls and how to apply, yes, please go to the postures and to the other session Covier is organizing. Now the next project is about benchmarking, and how can you contribute to that project?
Thank you, Cécile. So yes, I will be talking about briefly about Eurobench, which is a Cascade funding-based project to try to develop a benchmarking ecosystem. So we want to develop in the framework of bipedal locomotion testing facilities so that we can have reproducible results with this type of robots. So you have here the set of partners that team up in this consortium. So this is based on previous collaborations between 5 European projects that have already finished and launched framework in order to provide means for bipedal locomotion. So we are now capitalizing on the previous results of these projects. So basically the main objective of the project is to provide tools to assess and quantify how robots meet user needs. So on the one hand, we have technologies. These technologies are affecting how or the different abilities that robots will have, and depending on these abilities, we will have different performance levels and how we meet the user needs. So the idea is to try to quantify how we, with the robots, meet the user needs while trying to establish causal relations between technologies and system abilities, and of course system abilities and application domains. So this is the scheme of the benchmarking ecosystem that we're going to develop. Of course, we will have different benchmarks, which are metrics or algorithms that we will be using to calculate scores, performance scores for these robots. We'll have protocols that can be replicated across different labs. Of course, the robots and test beds, which are the different equipment we will use to measure the performance of our robots. And then, of course, databases where we have both human and robot performance related to locomotion. So these are the different components of the ecosystem. At the end of the project, we aim at having 2 different tools. One is what we call the benchmarking software, which is basically a software that you can use for robot testing in our facilities or in your labs, and 2 testing facilities both for humanoids and for wearable robots. I will come later on to the Cascade funding, how it applies to this project. So related to one of the results, which is the benchmarking software, we want a system that is open to any researcher or developer in both academy and industry that can use them with a wide range of robotic platforms. So we are focusing on locomotion, but our aim is to try to extend also this benchmarking scheme to other robotic domains, for instance, handling or manipulation and so forth. So we'll have an interactive application where the user can identify and run different tests. Within this software, we'll have a scoring system to automatically compute performance scores according to the protocols and different metrics that I was referring to before. And of course, the database where we can compare different solutions between different or similar systems. And then also the decisional support system that can establish a causal relationship between technologies and abilities and performance. So this is related to the software. Then we will have 2 facilities. Sorry for the mistake. One of the facilities for humanoids will be in Italy. The other one for wearable robots will be in Spain. So we expect to provide services to companies and research groups that are interested in testing the performance of robotic technology, first in the field of locomotion, but in the future in other domains. We want to provide also end users with a training site. And here we are thinking of end users of wearable robots, for instance, with a testing site or training site for assistive robotic technologies. Also, we will be providing services to European projects consortia with testing facilities to demonstrate, verify, or compare the solutions with the state of the art. Also, we are targeting health institutions because one of the facilities will be more related to the use of robotic technologies in the healthcare domain, and also certification and standardization entities. So benchmarking ecosystem will be developed by following this cascade funding approach. So basically we have 5 million euros to be distributed to different third parties, which can be academy or industry institutions, in 2 different open calls. So one will be later this year in July, September, and then the second one in 2020. So basically the first open call will be to develop the benchmarking ecosystem. So any partner or small consortia can apply to any of the different components or subcomponents or various of them to develop with us the framework, and then we'll have a second cascade funding stage where we will validate the system. So we will provide funding for third parties to come and test our facilities so that we can validate the facilities. So just to finish, if you want to know more about all these things, there will be a workshop tomorrow on benchmarking that will be run by my colleague Diego Rodicelli, who is the technical manager for the project. We have also a poster so you can visit us, and we are taking, let's say, the opportunity to start working on the definition of the benchmarking scheme. So you can find these brochures and questionnaires in the different tables. It will take you no more than 3 minutes to complete this information, and with this information we will be able to create consensus about how to benchmark these robots. Thank you.
Okay, and the next project now is about providing a research infrastructure. So, Paolo is, yes.
So, good morning. This is a bit different infrastructure. That of course complements very well all the others, but it's just a piece of additional opportunities we offer to our community because it is oriented to research. The idea is that we need basic research. Of course, there are slots, as we have seen today actually, on research also in our project, but essentially according to Horizon 2020 there are 3 almost distinct pillars. I've been always a bit critical about this distinction, but it is like it is. That is, the excellent science pillar is separated from the other pillars. So ERC, in which many members of our community are actively involved, FET, you know that we are trying to launch a FET flagship initiative in robotics. Marie Curie are independently driven and fragmented in a number of very high quality projects, but essentially not creating any critical mass together. So the idea that we had, together with Cécile, in fact, was to propose an action within the excellent science pillar that is on research infrastructure. And I can tell you, I've been trying for almost 20 years to convince the community that robotics deserved to be considered a science, or at least comparable to other fields like big data or, high energy physics or supercomputing or biological issues. And the result I'm most proud of, and I think we should be proud of, is that at the end, robotics has been considered as worth of having a research infrastructure project. So we are very proud to offer this to the community. So what we are going to offer essentially is a network of high quality infrastructure. Essentially high quality, of course, can be debated. What is high quality? There are many, many high quality nodes, but we focused on those who have three aspects. One is a critical mass of researchers. So not 5 or 10 PhD students, but large teams that have high quality and cutting-edge technical equipment, and that which have advanced research projects. A number of research projects acting in that place so that the trainees can find all these together and make the best of their staying in this node. So essentially the ambition is to help our community to attract and nurture the new generation of researchers. And what we want to do is really to stay, of course, to solid science, but also very creative, imaginative ideas, sometimes crazy ideas that are not related directly to innovation, but that could become industrial opportunities later. So this is essentially the idea. So to have a multidisciplinary, transnational environment to facilitate this cross-fertilization of ideas and to allow those who don't have easy access to various installations, but as I said, also to leaders and to a critical mass of acting projects that could really facilitate and help to learn how this can be replicated in young researchers. And the consortium includes, as I said, is a sample of the best. We recognize, cannot include everybody, but essentially a number of institutions. So there are 2 in Italy, the Scuola Superiore Sant'Anna, IIT. There are 2 in France, CA and LAS, 2 in Germany, Karlsruhe and TUM, 1 in the Netherlands, Twente, 2 in Spain, UPC and Seville, 1 in Switzerland, the PFL, and 2 in the UK, BRL and Imperial College. And who can apply? Academic, including postdoctoral, and industrial researchers, students, including school students. I said yesterday provocatively that we would like to have maybe 15-year, 20-year-old student, very young mind with crazy ideas like the ones that have many opportunities in, for example, other countries like the US, but also in China now. And entrepreneurs, of course, micro and SMEs, mid-caps, but also large industry. And you see here a set of actions that will be offered from research exchange program, summer school, assistance to startup creation, technology transfer, special workshop, and so on, many actions. But essentially, the main offer is to more than 310 users, so lots of people for more than 217 days of access. And you see this is the access scheme. Of course, the call will open in December this year and will start in March 2019. So there will be in total 4 years of this access. Of course, it's an open consortium to other teams, but also outside Europe. We want to become the reference point for basic research, let's call, in robotics in the world. So attract people from everywhere, to bring people and talent from everywhere. You see the talent, the impact, and this is just a bet, but I don't have too much time, so I will cut. But essentially the idea is to create a favorable ecosystem to attract and nurture new talents in robotics with this framework. And be prepared to encourage application. Thank you.
So the last one of the session is about the non-technical aspect, to open your mind to responsible research. And after this presentation, I found back your presentation, so I will ask you to complement what you say if you agree. And so the floor is yours.
Thank you, Cécile. Hello. Hope you can find the energy for one more presentation in this marathon on information. I'd like to present the RELA project, where we look into possibilities for responsible and ethical learning with robotics. A little bit about the project before we get to the services. We are a multidisciplinary project with 4 partners with expertise within anthropology, within robotics, ethics, and agent-based modeling and innovation economy. So, what do we study? We look at robot makers or roboticists, robots, and what we call affected stakeholders. So robot makers are people who in one way or the other are involved in designing robots. The robots is an artifact itself, but also perceptions of the robot. So I will get into that during the poster session if one of you want to hear more. So the affected stakeholders is really what you tend to call the end users. And we include them in affected stakeholders also. But we also look at a wider spectrum of people, people that might never be in close contact to the robot, but will feel the potential effect of the robot being implemented. And it also includes policymakers. Oh, sorry, here. A little bit about our methodology and objective. So we apply a case study approach based on ethnographic fieldwork, which means interviews and participant observation, as far as that is possible. We do database searches, and part of our objective, we do outreach activities that I will tell you more about in a minute. And we combined all these with computer models, the agent-based modeling that I talked about before, validation tools, and we combine these in a real roadmap for responsible ethical robot design, which is sort of our end product. Yeah. In our first round of fieldwork, which was 6 months last year, we covered 10 countries in Europe, and we aim to maybe not cover another 10, but at least 4 or 5 more in the next round. And we have 3 rounds of fieldwork, hence the 3 little robot wheels there. Yeah, as I said, our end product will be a roadmap for ethical, responsible robot designs with recommendations for policy making for the European Commission. So, a little bit about our services. We have like 3 services. One that we call a REP, which is a robot expert panel workshop with social drama. These are photos of our first social drama REP workshop, and you can see people actually enacting. So what do we do in that day? We discuss the latest research and stakeholder attitudes that we retrieve from the fieldwork. So these are actual statements from actual people. These are the end users speaking. And we present them to you and discuss it with you. You then get to reflect and enact on your own robot or your robot and development processes through this social drama and an alternative method. And the outcome of that day, your statements to us, will influence our recommendations for the European Commission. So we listen to what you say as well and incorporate that in our recommendations. So I imagine that you might be a little bit skeptic about what is social drama. So I just want to present you with 2 reactions to our rep that we had last summer. So this one, social drama, was completely new to me, and I was surprised how well it worked. I would never have thought that embodying a concept and staying in that perspective for discussion would work so well. From Kuka. And then we have Panayatis, who is the CEO of Cyric, definitely working as a designer and visionary of new types of robots. This really helped me a lot to see other aspects related to ethics and society that I haven't experienced before. So designers of new androids, robots, and humanoids must take these into consideration, while at the same time not withholding their imagination for revolutionizing the field of robotics. So what we do is really, what we did last time was asking people to take on a concept. It could be motivation, it could be fear of robots, it could also be the robot itself, and then we role-played that, and it worked quite well. So our next rep will be in October 4 in Italy, in Milan, and we would like to invite all of you to join. I will tell you more about how you can sign up for that later on. But that is one service. So the other service is to become one of our minimum 10 case studies that I talked about before, the ethnographic fieldwork. So in that process, it was involved that we come to you, we map the network of people that are affected by your robot or affecting it, and we explore these threats through interview with relevant people in your robot company or your projects. We observe your work and collaboration processes insofar as that is possible. Of course, we pay attention to non-disclosure and so on and so forth. And then we go out and interview actual and potential users, the affected stakeholders. And all of that, sorry, through that we combine it in a report where you will get then the empirically based social scientific, because this is not a non-technical project, but a social scientific project, knowledge about your robot and its potential effect, but also acceptance or barriers to implementation in society. And you will also learn about ethical issues pertaining to your particular robot. So the last service that I can present is actually an offer for you today, because RELA is also developing a card game that we call BuildBot. And this card game brings together visions and statements from roboticists, policymakers, potential customers, people that we've interviewed in the past 6-7 months. And the aim of this game is really to elicit effective ideas to tailor early phases of design and development. And we're playing the game today for the first time, so we're quite excited about that. If you want to join in and test it and get to know about these statements, then join a workshop called Robot Development and Design, What About Ethics, in the 2 o'clock slot. Yeah? So who is eligible, who can sign up? Really, anyone involved in a robot project can collaborate with us. All you have to do is write to our project email. You can also sign up for our newsletter and see more at our website. And I will be in the poster session, of course. Thank you.
Do you want to? Yeah. So, oh, sorry. Yeah. It was so to make up for the mishap in the previous session. So now I have the. That's it. So.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Correct. So this one is focusing on the service you're offering.
Hi everybody, I'm Asger Lassen. I will talk. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, I'll just jump to the things I missed before. And yeah, briefly, one thing I think I forgot to mention is that we have 3 calls in this project. First of them being at the end of this year, second mid of 2019, and the third call in 2020. And we expect between 50 to 100 awards to be granted during the project. So that was at least one thing I forgot to mention. I think I covered these points. I did say that we have a more generic approach to what is a collaborative robot. That being said, in the first call we do focus on 2 domains, one of them being manufacturing and the other rehabilitation. It's not that you're limited to only apply in the later calls if you not fall within these 2 domains. It's just our primary focus to begin with. And I think finally, please visit our website, Safe Around Robots, for more information. Follow us on LinkedIn, and once again, 2 sessions in this afternoon. So actually, that was all. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Last but not least, I want to introduce Agnes, and she's actually a national contact point. She will tell you a bit more about that, but she's our national contact point, the one in charge of robotics. So this is the, sorry, I'm just, service project. So this is the person to go if you want to contact the services offered by all the national contact points in addition to your own national contact points. So Agnes, tell us more.
So I'm the one keeping you from lunch, so I just want to talk to you about a slightly different service that we provide that is available in your countries. But first of all, I'd like just to clarify what a national contact point is. So basically, we are funded, national contact points, we are funded by our government. And we are government of the associated and member states to the EU research framework programs. And it's per domain. So one of you, I think Paolo, had presented the 3 pillars. So it's per domain. And I'm a contact point for info communication technologies in Switzerland. And I'm just one of the many contact points, ICT contact points. All around, we are in 72 countries. So most probably in your countries as well. And then basically we provide personalized support should you wish to apply for any Horizon 2020 funding, including cascading funds as well. Why are we interesting for you? Because first of all, our services are free, and because we are funded by the government, and basically we help you navigate around all the funding opportunities available, including cascading grants, and we keep in touch with stakeholders, issuing the calls beforehand and afterwards once the calls are open. And we, as I'm here today at the Robotics Forum, we try to keep really close contact with the stakeholders and then the community. And then we have services. So we are a network that has been established in '96, so we are more than 20 years old, and we have a long-standing experience that we would like to give it to you, to pass it on to you. So we have developed a toolbox for proposals for applicants from project idea to submission. We also organized partnering events with collaboration with Enterprise Europe Network. These are called partnering events. We call them brokerage events, where you can find partners for your building consortium, should it be an H2020 topic or even a cascading grants where you have to build up a consortium, so collaborative projects. And then we also have a partnering platform, and then last, but this is probably the most important, we do proposal reviews. So basically, once you have a proposal, depending on which country, which level, some countries provide very in-depth for the draft already a proposal review and helping for you to submit your proposal. And then some other countries wish that you send in a later stage. But whatever, is just we do these proposal reviews. That's it. Thank you very much. Please get in touch either with me. I'm here today and tomorrow, or send an email to me, and I can put you in touch with your national contact point if you are not located in Switzerland, and then follow us on social media. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I think we are very lucky to have one person to go to for robotics, so that's really, really great that you're committed to us. Thank you. So that being said, this is closing now our session. I want to thank again all the speakers and the audience for having listened to all this very interesting presentation. And now, during this break, I invite you to go to the poster session and to actively engage with the presenter to know more and more in detail how you can apply or you can benefit from these services. Thank you again and have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.